Deborah Reniva, and I want to share with you a story, my story. I grew up not in a Beaver Cleaver home. My father was an abusive alcoholic. We moved, about every year, sometimes 3 or 4 times a year. I don't know if he was chasing a dream or running from the cops, but we moved a lot. And in a way that was good in that people didn't get to know us very well because there was so much that went on in our house that people didn't know about. My father, behind those doors was a lot of fighting and abuse, emotionally, physically. I knew I just wanted to grow up and get out of there and get big enough first to protect my siblings and my mother. It's bad enough I was getting beat up, but seeing them get hurt was bad too. And I remember my brother and I, when we got to a certain age, we would help try to fight and get him off my mom or get him off of one or the other that he was beating up, which led to a lot more pain. But so at 14, my dad threw me out in the streets, and I lived a life for a while that the streets hold. And the things that happened in the physical sense really truly weren't as bad as what was going on inside. I felt dirty. I felt unloved, unvaluable. Like, what's going on here? God, what did I do that was so bad to be in this life? I see kids with mom and dads that loved them, that hugged them, that took them places. And my house, the house of pain, if you will, and the house of shame. But as I said, I was in the streets. And my friend told this lady about me and her husband. She babysat for him. And they invited me to their home to be like a mother's aide, which was a nanny. But they wanted to help me. And when they met me the first time, Rhonda came in that room and she said, "I want to tell you, young lady, I got a heart this big to love you with." And they did love me. I watched their kid. I helped keep the house clean. And I had a roof over my head for the first time in a while. And I stayed with them until I was 16. Lee got transferred. And I got a legal job. I got my own place, and I finished high school. Yeah. I finished high school. It was a tough thing, I'm a kid. I have a little rickety apartment. It was basically a roof over my head. And I was working every evening in a nursing home to, get by. And when I graduated high school, I went to live with these people I named as my foster parents. And later I went on to school. I met my husband, and, I was young and dumb. And he had a lot of problems. He had a lot of addictions and mental illness. I didn't even know what that was. And life was a living hell with him. And finally, when I couldn't take it anymore. Either I was going to kill myself. Something had to break. But I couldn't take the pain anymore. And a friend reached out to me. She had gone through the same thing. And she walked me through how to get out of this safely. And I did, very carefully, very slowly. I safely got out of that situation, and it was a very painful time because I had a son who was battling addiction as well, and going through all that process with him, trying to, keep him alive and get him help. And that was another battle in itself of 10 years. And he's sober today in a safe house. But it was a very long, painful journey. A lot of middle of the night calls from ERs, and I was an ER nurse. So, the things that go on in your head. But we got through it with a lot of prayer and a lot of people rallying around, walking me through, people who had been through the very same thing that I had. And there were many times I felt like such a failure because I have a son in this situation. I went through a divorce, and you feel so low and so unloved and just so much like a failure. But I got through it. And I later moved to Virginia to help my daughter. She was in law school, and her husband had a beautiful granddaughter for me. And I went out here, and the hard thing that I had to overcome with this was I had established myself as a nurse in Louisiana, and it took a lot. And now I'm starting all over again. And, you know, people looked at me as this country bumpkin because I had a southern drawl. And a lot of them didn't take me serious. But after, you know, a number of years, I've established myself once again. And I've overcome that prejudice, if you will, of being a southerner in a new place. And then I had to overcome my daughter is married to a black man. He's from Trinidad. He's a wonderful man. But the prejudice that go with that, and my beautiful granddaughters, I have 2 now, and they're, you know, biracial. And I don't care, but I see the prejudice in people around, and my husband's Filipino. So we have this big, beautiful, multicultural, blended family. And there's a lot of stigmatisms that go with that. But I've overcome my father's abuse. And I became an alcoholic and a drug addict in those times when I was in the streets. But I overcame that. All because of the Lord. I gave myself to Him, and He healed my hurts. He delivered me from drugs and alcohol. He restored me after a horrible marriage and established me again in the community. And now my son, and all that pain that I went through with that, He's healed me of that. And I'm able to help mothers who've gone through, children who've been in addictions. I can help people who've been in abuse, people who've been addicts and alcoholics. You name it, I've been there. And I'm not, you know, I would love to be making this all up. But I'm upright, and I have my right mind. It is all because of the Lord. And humor. I've learned to laugh at things that I can't control and give it to God. And I'm telling you today that you can overcome anything because of the Lord. When I look back, and my principals and teachers who looked at me and said, "You're never going to be anything more than a wild, you should be caged away somewhere. You're horrible. You'll never be anything." And I would love to look at them and not in mockery and say, "See, God had other ideas. He healed my mind. He healed my heart. And He allowed me to graduate the top of my class, I want to say again, with the highest honors as an RN in a very respected career, and gave me a wonderful man who, by the way, is a physician. And we have a wonderful home life, and it's a peaceful one. And when I look back at my childhood, yeah, there were a lot of hurts, but God healed them. And I take that now, and I share the story in order to help others, to help kids who think there's no way out, to help moms to think, will my kid ever quit doing drugs? And I can say, yeah, because I've been through it. And I know you can make it because I did. Thank you for listening to me and listening to my story. I hope it's helped you and given you some hope, and knowing that no matter what you go through, you can make it, because there's a God in heaven that loves you, and He will get you through it. Thank you.